Oh, yes. You know what that sound means. Come take that fantasy ride to the fantasy island. Green token. In the paddock F1. Green the cheese. Formula One's on vacation. So are we. As we're on that fantasy island, a green token where the beer flows like wine and the wine flows like beer. And the cannabis, oh yes. Oh yes. That cannabis grows as far as you guys can see. Just like that Iowa corn, baby. Look at it out there. Green and luscious. Take a little whiff. Ah! That air smells fantastic.
Fantastic.
We ain't taking a walk to the top of the hill, though, because we're not gambling, because there ain't nothing gambling. But it's an In the News special. Because we got some news to talk about.
Life is a daily gamble as if it's self-cheese. In the paddock F1, Greenie and the Cheese coming at you once again. We took a week off ourselves. Haven't done that in many of months, probably since like February. Taking a week off. So we did take 1 week off. Thank you all for listening to the last bunch of races. We had some of our best numbers ever over the last month or two here. So thank you all once again for tuning in and listening from all around the world. Beyond appreciative. We'll be back next episode. We're going to preview the end of the season and go back and take a look at our Greenie Bucks and all our preseason predictions and all that good stuff. So expect that before we get back, or F1 gets back from their summer break as we get to the end of August there. But exciting stuff going down. Everyone's on vacation. Lots of Max Verstappen swimming in the ocean. I didn't even mention a pre-show, but Toto Wolff took a visit to Max Verstappen's yacht. Saw some pictures there. Maybe just hanging. Maybe not. As the rumors and speculation continue on what 2026 is going to look like. We got some Charles Leclerc, maybe excuses from the last race, or maybe some explanations on what happened there. We got some Cadillac news updates. Got some more Liam Lawson news. Seems like we've had more Liam Lawson news this year than almost anyone else. But of course, we're going to start with the 100-day countdown to Las Vegas and the end of the original three-year contract, which is now, as of 2 days ago, was extended another 2 years. Jeez, I know people are pissed as hell in Vegas. I know this has been one of the worst tourist summers ever in Las Vegas for many different reasons. Las Vegas is now moving up the time frame from a 12-week road closure process to only 6-week road closure process to appease some of the locals who were pissed as hell about how the leading up to the race goes. Vegas also announced they only made about $1 million in monetary economic gains as far as the local businesses are concerned, which seems like a lot of money, but this is not very much. That's like less than what a football game makes, or a baseball game would make, from subsidiaries outside of the economy. So, geez, what do we feel about this Vegas extension, about the road closures? You've been to Vegas a couple times. I've been there as well. Knowing that community and knowing that area, I guess, somewhat decently. What do you think about this Vegas extension and everything going on for F1 Vegas?
Well, for one, dropping it to 6 weeks, you've done it for 2 years, so if you haven't gotten the kinks worked out on how to set stuff up, it's Las Vegas. You'd be able to set that up without a problem. So that's number one. As you said, the tourist numbers are way the heck down, so to get any type of tourism to the city right now, I think they should probably appreciate that right now. Saying Vegas has lost a little bit of that panache too, somewhat, the flash that it had for a number of years. So people's styles and things are changing. So if you want some people showing up, it's probably a good idea to have it. I mean, Formula One, that definitely wants it. They spent all that money on the paddock building. Formula One's home is there in the U.S. base, so probably don't want to close down your new office that you just opened like 2 years ago.
Yeah, and you already have also have the tourism issue.
And
you got the tourism
issue. You need people to show up. Two, I think the ticket prices, as we've discussed, are insanely ridiculous. And that's why you're not going to make any money either, because they haven't been selling out because the tickets are too damn expensive. I mean, ticket prices plummet there right near the race because they're in panic mode. So maybe they should start the ticket prices lower, so people are going to show up. Another thing is they start the thing ridiculously late.
Yeah, they're moving it up 2 hours. I apologize. They're moving it up 2 hours from 10 p.m. local time to 8 p.m. local time this year. So
I mean, that makes that makes a lot more sense too, because that's when basically most main events are taking place in Las Vegas. I mean, that's when the fights. If they're having the fight night or something like that in Vegas, it's 8 o'clock local time.
8 p.m. Usually 8:30 is usually the main event.
8:30, maybe 9 at the most. But that's when the main event is. That's so starting it at 10 o'clock was also insane as well. So I think making some changes might make things better. We'll see. I mean, locals in Vegas complain about every convention, everything that takes place, because it changes things. 'Cause the road closures, I'm sure, is a major pain in the ass. But I mean, especially right now when the people aren't showing up. So any way to get people showing up, so people have a job, since they are, casinos and things out there are definitely have been laying off people because of they're just not making the money they were. So it's any way to get people showing up.
You got economic issues as far as the American public is concerned, with inflation and all those other things. And you got the international issue with a lot of people that are not so hip in touring in the United States. Those listening in Canada, or all of our listeners out in Europe may or may not agree. But the numbers are telling.
I think there's some other reasons involved on why internationals are not showing up either. I think there's some other issues that we don't discuss on this program, but there's some other underlying issues that are definitely involved.
This isn't a politics show. This is an F1 show.
Absolutely. That's why we don't talk about that shit. But, I think there's definitely underlying issues there as well. So, but it's a fight. Right. But then it all comes down to people need jobs. And if people ain't showing up to the city, then people aren't going to have a job. So any way to get people there, I think they should be like, yes, especially right now.
Yeah, no, and before we move on, because I'm sure we'll talk a lot of Vegas stuff between now and the race, but notoriously, outside of this summer, it's really been the Thanksgiving weekend, the end of November, beginning of December, where it is the slowest time in Las Vegas, and that's why they have the race at this time of year. Everyone's like, why is it at this time? It's because Las Vegas is usually the slowest. You can't have a race in Vegas in the summer. You might as well put it in the desert, because Las Vegas is a desert, and
that would be too damn hot.
So you really can't have it in the summer. So the only time to have it is November, but it's also the slow time of year in Vegas. So that is why. All right, let's move on from Vegas. And let's get into, as I mentioned before, your boys in Ferrari. Charles Leclerc is coming out talking about some issues that he had in the last race. He went from, potentially should have been podium to not making podium. What happened there with Leclerc and the chassis update?
From the 40th lap on, the chassis was broken. So that's going to cause you some problems. No bueno. No good. So that's why the man was pissed. So I guess they knew something even going into the race, that the chassis wasn't going to last the entire race. And They knew it beforehand. Rolled the dice, didn't pay off, and the man was pissed in that car. So, I mean, that would probably piss me off, too.
Yeah, Leclerc's got a hell of a radio roll this year of all the pissed off calls he's made on track because he's had a lot of issues. I know Ferrari is really hyper-focused now on 2026, hyper-focused on incoming year, but Ferrari between Lewis Hamilton, which we haven't even mentioned, I don't even know if we're gonna get to him so much this episode, but we all heard what Lewis Hamilton had to say several times now about him, losing confidence or just being pretty miserable and down on himself pretty hard this season. Probably has something to do with the car, maybe not, but obviously a lot of frustration there in Ferrari, and it's starting to come to a head pretty bad, and it really could affect the end of the season between all of Lewis's struggles and now just Charles being pissed as hell. And with this chassis breaking, it's just, finally you thought you were going to get a Ferrari podium and you just blow it. And that was a tough one. Another tough one for Ferrari. So, yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about the home stretch in Ferrari? You think these guys are going to pull it together, or you think they're going to end up in third in the constructors here behind maybe Merck when it's all said and done?
It's an absolute disaster. The car's a mess. They brought these upgrades for the suspension and things that were supposed to help with the floor and the plank issue, which doesn't seem to have helped at all. They show a flash here and there, but they just can't seem to put the whole shebang together. It's just been a disastrous season. There's a fundamental issue with the car. I mean, both drivers are not happy with the car, so it's bad news. It's just been an absolute disaster.
Yeah, and it seems more and more.
And it's been. I don't think it's not going to improve since there's nothing else coming for this year's car.
Not this year.
It's all about next year in the new regs. So we'll see. Do I have faith that next year's car will be any better? Absolutely, goddamn not.
Yeah, I think we've been saying this for a good 15 years now. Okay? I think feels like we've been saying it for a good 15 years. They're concentrated on next year. Don't worry. Every August for the last decade plus, we have talked about Ferrari in August, September, whatever it might be, next year's the year. And they're concentrating on next year, and don't worry, Ferrari fans. Don't worry, Tifosi.
Don't worry.
They got it. And it's just it's deja vu all over again, man. Again and again and again. Seriously, we can go play back last year's episode, a mid-August episode last year. We're talking about the same thing. And let's go back to 2023. Yeah. We're talking about the same thing. Well, don't worry. I know they had a rough first half. They're going to improve for next year. They got it. Last year, Lewis Hamilton's coming. They got it. Don't worry. Getting rid of Carlos Sainz. Don't worry. And just another look into the future yet again for Ferrari. So
you're not wrong. That's pretty spot on.
Speaking of which, I'm sure we'll have a lot more Ferrari talk as well for the fall and their potential collapse into a third place finish. I don't think they can possibly finish worse than third in the constructors this year. But Cadillac making some moves, making some news again, talking about an American driver pulling out of F2 potentially. The driver shuffle talk continues with Cadillac as it seems to be some kind of musical chairs going on here. Every time you think they made a decision on what next year is going to be, they have something else to say about it. Where is Cadillac today with their driver lineup, and how confident you are that what they are thinking today is what they're going to be thinking in, a couple weeks from now?
There's a ton going on behind the scenes right now, for sure. Most of the grid is pretty much locked up. for next season as well. So just a couple seats, I think, or maybe just there's a couple seats probably possibly out there still. There still could be musical chairs to go depending on what happens at Red Bull and Yuki, which if Yuki's out, which has been pretty much the rumor, then that opens up a seat there. So there'll be some shuffling, but there's not a lot of drivers out there as well. If something did happen with that, there's drivers that would probably pop right into that seat. It's pretty much already been talked about too, but Cadillac is probably still got the Bottas Perez rumor. Perez has also been rumored for possibly a seat at Alpine, so that's still out there as well. But if they did go with an American, they have talked about they'd probably go with Jack Crawford, who is currently second in the F2 standings. So that was an interesting bit. But no pen has been put to paper. So we'll see. I mean, I'm assuming that's probably going to start taking shape pretty soon. I mean, this would be your typical silly season for Formula One to break. So I would expect probably the next month, I think probably most seats would probably be signed up and accounted for. I mean, Perez has apparently been rumored to be with his old trainer, get himself back in shape. So expecting a return next year. So, but where? Still have to see.
Right on, right on. Well, we will see. And I think Cadillac is just when you think they made a decision, they're just going back and forth. But obviously, at some point, sooner than later, they're going to have to make that final decision. And as you said, put pen to paper and get that 2026 lineup set up for the Cadillac team. All right. I got one other story here, which is Liam Lawson talking smack about how Red Bull might have derailed his career as he started with Red Bull and then they moved to the junior team and he's better than Yuki and a lot of frustration there. A little late night frustration brain dump from Liam Lawson. I know you have very specific opinions about Liam Lawson this season. Let at it, man. How do you feel about Liam Lawson? Is this disrespectful, or is this him just not knowing his place, or knowing his place and his talent level, and the fact that maybe Red Bull did really screw up his career by putting him in for only 2 races in the Red Bull and then moving him down for the Yuki switch, which hasn't really worked out at all for Red Bull?
I think the switch has worked out pretty goddamn well for Liam Lawson.
Worked out much better for Liam than it has for Yuki. That's the damn straight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the Racing Bulls definitely seem like a better car than the Red Bull basically has been, outside of, Max Verstappen, who is, the best driver on the planet, you'd probably say right now. So to be honest, if I'm Liam Lawson, and it's basically Max Verstappen has even come out within the last, couple weeks ago and said that there's a fundamental issue with the car, with the Red Bull. So going to Racing Bulls is probably the best damn thing that happened to Liam Lawson. He's probably going to have a seat next year just because of how he's performed at Racing Bulls. The team that also runs that team is also Red Bull. So you probably don't want to be talking crap about your employer if you still want to have a job in Formula One. Just a thought on that. I think the switch is probably the best. The switch is probably the best damn thing that's happened to him. So probably just shut your mouth. Know your role. Drive the car. You could end up, having a solid season again next year if the Racing Bulls has a decent car and progress into one of the a higher team then somewhere else. But if you want to be on the grid, you probably don't want to bite the hand that feeds you.
Maybe get a little comfortable on the summer break there. Listen, we're going to end it there. We will be back in a little over a week. I will be taking a cruise up to, or a flight up to the Rocky Mountain High of Colorado. So I will be out next weekend, but we will bring you another episode for sure before we go back into the second half of the season, or the home stretch of the 2025 season. Until then, sir, say what you got to say, brother.
Until next time, as always, stay medicated, my friends.
Peace.